Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jadisola, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. And if you like what you hear today, make sure you subscribe before you exit this video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for coming back. So today's topic, I'm going to be exploring how to deal with rejections from job interviews and also how to even recover from that. So I think first things first, congratulations on getting interviews. Like, it's a confirmation that your CV is working. Now, I did a video the last time, showing my CV. It takes a lot of work to even like get your CV to be noticed by recruiters and hiring managers. So if you have been getting interviews, I would first of all say congratulations, something is working, right? Now, on the flip side, getting rejected is not fun at all. Like, this thing is like heartbreak. And it can be so bad that sometimes people just wallow in this rejection for a really long time. They overanalyze the situation that they don't even get to move past that situation. And I can understand why it may sting more than usual for a lot of people. So let's say, for example, you've been out of job for a very long time, and quote unquote, this job is like your last hope, so to speak, and you're like, oh, I really want to get this job. Or it's a company that is like your dream company, like you've always wanted to work for this company, and then you finally got the interview and then you got rejected. Or even if it could be a dream role as well, just in the same light as a dream company, everything could have been perfect. Or maybe you spent a lot of time going through the interviews. See, I have done an 8-stage interview before, and you put in so much effort, so much time into this interview, and then they come back with the usual, oh, unfortunately we've decided to not go with you, or thank you very much for your application, however this da 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 da. Basically they're telling you no, right? And what would usually happen is, depending on the situation, and it doesn't even matter whether you're on a job and you're tired of being there and you want to switch to another company and then you get rejected by that company, it really doesn't matter. It's going to sting. Like, it's going to sting really badly. But there's so many ways you can manage the situation that it doesn't get you stuck, and those are some of the things I'm going to be sharing with us today. But one is just realizing that it's nothing personal, because sometimes we fall into that trap of thinking, oh, it's because I'm a woman, or I'm female, that's why maybe they didn't take me, or maybe it's because I said this, or maybe it's because I did that. Like, it may not have anything to do with you. It may be that they just had other candidates that were better. Remember that you're not the only one interviewing for the role in the first place. So if other people did better than you, it's fine, right? The same prayer that you're having, right, to get the job is the same prayer the other candidates are also having. So at the end of the day, if it's only one role and only one person gets it, then you just have to know it's not about you. Secondly is the fact that, think about it. If you're running a business, clearly you want the best person that has the best fit for the role, right? And they're not going to be making a decision because we like Jadisola, then yeah. They're going to be thinking of, how does Jadisola fit into our company? How does Jadisola fit into this role? What do we think Jadisola is going to bring into the table? And as much as, it's more about the company looking for what's going to be most beneficial to them. And as you should, be doing as well. Like, if you're interviewing for a company, it's a two-way street. As the company is evaluating you, thinking about their own side, you should be thinking about yourself as well. But that's beside the point. You have to be thinking, it's not about me. It could be an internal decision that they say, oh, you know what, let's even promote somebody else to this role that they were advertising before. And then guess what? It's not about you still. They have decided to do something that they think is best for them. at the very end of the day, business is business. The second thing that I think is going to help you, and I think for me, like when I was going through like a lot of like job rejections, is that what helped me was because I had managed my expectation from the get-go, right? So apart from just knowing that I'm not going to apply for every job and they're going to just automatically say, oh, we're going to give you the offer for every job role I interview for. It's managing my expectation in terms of analyzing my current situation. So for people that have been following my channel, you know that I relocated, and I've also been an entrepreneur for a long time. Like literally, I had not, up until last year when I started to interview again, I had not done any interview for any job role in over 10 years. So I knew that I was going to be slightly rusty. Yes, I used to interview people, but sitting on the other side of the table is very different from when you're the one interviewing people, right? So understanding that, hey, you know what, I haven't done this thing in a long time. I may be rusty and I may need some time to practice. Also, even just looking at the fact that, I'm in a new country, their style of interviewing may be different from what I'm used to, and I may need to spend some more time just getting familiar with the entire process. So that was the first set of expectations that I had to manage. So what I started to do was to tell myself, you know what, I'm going to give myself different goals. Now, because I was interviewing for a product management role, I knew sort of like the interview stages are going to be between 3 and 4 stages. So my first goal was to say, you know what, let me try and scale first stage. If I got the job, if I got all the way to the final round and got the job, it would have been fantastic, right? But I started giving myself more realistic goals, right? So let me even start getting calls and getting interviews booked because I just prepared my CV. Okay, now my CV is working. I get the first interview. I want to, pass the first stage. Then I want to go to the next stage. Then I want to get to the final round. So those kind of expectations would help you to manage situation. Yes, while I'm not saying don't aim high, right? What I'm just saying is that when the feedback is negative, if, for example, I was aiming to just, pass the first stage, and then I pass the first stage and then move on to the next stage, and then I don't pass that second stage, even though it's still going to hurt, but me now start looking at the positive of, oh, actually my target was even to pass the first stage, right? Because what some of these things are going to do for you is it's going to start to help you find patterns in why you're being rejected. And I'll get to that later on in this video. Now, there are times that this could actually be about you. So remember I said earlier that, if you give yourself manageable expectations, you may be able to troubleshoot and apply some sort of science to why you're not getting the job offer. So for example, if you're not getting calls from recruiters and hiring managers and you're applying, there's a good chance that maybe there's something that is wrong with your CV, right? So you're able to say, hey, even if I'm not getting calls, it means, whatever I'm presenting to the employers is not right. Then you can now go back to your CV and try to rework it, or try to see, are there grammatical errors? Are you applying for roles that are not relevant to what you've, put on your CV and your experience and everything? This stage is called review and reflect. And you want to do this thing in a way that is very objective, and you're critically analyzing why you think or what you think you could have done better, right? This time around, you're doing it with a clear mind. So if you're getting rejected in the first stages of your interviews, right? For a lot of roles, first stages are usually about the same. They're trying to get to know you, right? And what I've discovered is that a lot of the things in that first stage, it's about your personality and your background, right? So at the end of the day, if you're getting rejected at every first stage, you may want to think about, oh, what is it that I'm doing that is not making them to want to call me back after the first stage? Because this is supposed to be the easiest stage. You're telling them about yourself and what you've done in your past role, for example. So how are you saying it? How are you selling yourself? you may want to like practice more in terms of, just trying to make sure that you're selling your experience in a much better way. You also want to, make your personality shine through. In as much as you're trying to get to know your achievements, a lot of the things that the hiring manager is trying to do, even in the first round before they start to do like a proper culture fit interview, is this personality, does it fit into our kind of company? Like, is this person, the way this person is communicating, can this person work with other people in the team? If there's a difficult stakeholder and you appear to be timid, they might be looking at it that, you know what, if you put this person on this role, this person that has like this huge personality and ego may just, start to bully this person that appears to be very timid. So depending on the role, you want to maybe start to look at the things that you may try to do differently in that stage. What are the kind of questions that they're asking? How are you selling that, yourself? The next thing you want to do, if it's like second stage, depending on what that stage is about, it's like a behavioral stage interview where they ask you, questions like, tell me about a time when maybe you had to do something extraordinary or you had to deal with a difficult stakeholder. And a lot of those questions require structure in terms of how you present those answers. So you want to think about it critically. Are you using those kind of structure? Are you using, it's usually called like the STAR method, which you can check out. Are you using those kind of frameworks to sort of phrase your answers? If you're doing that, the next thing maybe you want to look at is what stories am I telling? Right? Are they able to connect, the stories I'm telling with the kind of questions that they are asking? What do I think that they want to get out of that behavioral question? Right? Are they trying to test whether I'm a leader? Are they trying to test how I manage conflict? Are they trying to test, how I'm doing certain things in my current role? So these are the things that you want to, analyze and say, you know what, if I'm getting cut off at this stage, then maybe I want to look at how I am structuring my interview or my answers for those kind of questions. Now, if you're doing things like case studies and presentations, and you're getting cut off at this stage, so one of the things you want to be doing is that, okay, is there something in my presentation skills, right? I'll also go back to a bit of structure, because at the end of the day, in as much as you have like pretty slides and everything, you've done research, how are you communicating these things? How are you putting structure to how you're answering the questions? It's unfortunate that a lot of interviews, and to be very frank, they want you to speak in a certain way. They want you to speak the language that they understand. So if you're not speaking the language that they understand, sometimes they may just say no. Another thing that you may want to do if you're getting to like maybe culture fit interview stages, depending on the organization, they do it differently. I've done the one where there could be 6 people on the call, right? Different people that you may be working with. So as a product manager, they may put me on a call with developers, designers, architects, other product managers as well. And then you guys can just chat for like 1 hour. They will ask you different questions. They want to see how you are, how relaxed are you, how knowledgeable are you, how do they think that you're going to fit into the team, and then they will go and give their feedback. If you're getting caught up at this stage, then you also want to start to think of what are the things that you're not doing right. One of the things that I try to do at every point when I'm on the call, right? Once I'm ending and they ask, do you have any questions for us? After I'm done asking all my questions, my final question usually would be to ask for feedback immediately. And I try to let them know that I really just want to know that it's important to me to know, how they perceived me, how they think I've done, and all whatnot. Some people, like when you put them on the spot like that, they're looking at you, either it's physical or virtual, they're most likely going to answer you. They may give you a diplomatic answer, but you will get some kind of feedback. When people start to hesitate, yourself, before you get the final no, you may know. And while I'm not saying that it's absolute, like you eventually like you'll be able to get foolproof confirmation that you're going to be rejected, you're going to be accepted, because those decisions, sometimes it's a collective decision. If you've gone through like different stages of interviews, even though you're being advanced, before they make the final hiring decision, they have to really look at comments and feedback from everybody that you've spoken to make that final decision. And what this means is that you may not actually know, but it gives you an idea of how they perceive you. And if you're actually getting the same kind of feedback from people in general after you've done your interviews on why they're rejecting you, you may actually want to objectively reflect and see how you can improve yourself. It's not for you to weigh yourself down, it's for you to improve yourself. And then the final thing I'm going to say is, you don't have control whether someone is going to hire you or not. The only thing you have control over is what you do after the rejection, right? And the best solution is to move on. Don't sit in that rejection for too long. Feel the feelings and everything, but move forward. And how can you move forward, right? If you have other interviews in the pipeline, you want to focus on those ones. If you don't have any other interviews in the pipeline, then you want to try and get some more. One of the things that helped me while I was doing my interviews was, as I was getting rejections, I had interviews already lined up. So while I was still feeling down, I didn't have enough time to wallow in that rejection and just really just fold into my shell and go like, oh my gosh, they just rejected me. I had the opportunity to prepare for the other interview. I've seen like a lot of mistakes that people make is that they apply to just maybe one company or two companies, and then they're like, just that expectation of once I go for the interview, I'm going to get it, right? Because you don't have control over whether or not they're going to take you. So the more opportunities you have, the better for you. I always say like the cure for a job rejection is an interview, for like an interview with another company, because when you spend a lot of time wallowing in that rejection and you're not moving on to the next interview, then you're just going to carry that very negative energy around you for a long time, and it doesn't help anybody. It hurts your self-esteem, it hurts your confidence level, to even proceed and even go for other job interviews. So move on is what I'll say. Have more prospects in your pipeline of job interviews that you can potentially get. Put yourself out there more. And another thing you want to do is stay positive, because you don't want to carry that negative energy into your next interview. You want to approach your next interview with a fresh and positive mind, even before you get the no. As long as they've not said yes to you. That thing that people say that if you are not married, you're still single. Exactly, that's how it is. Until somebody has come back to you with an offer, you are not yet on the job. And I understand, like, it can be very, very, very stressful when you're trying to change jobs, or you're looking for a new role, or you're trying to just survive, and you're trying to interview. It is not a pretty process, but you have to try and build resilience, because it is part of the process. Like I said earlier, you have to be ready to stomach a lot of rejections, and it may not just even be the company rejecting you. It may be it's you rejecting the company, that maybe at the end of the interview, you've gone through these stages of interviews, and then they come with their offer, and then the offer is so low that you feel like it's not worth your time. At that point in time, yes, it's also heartbreaking, because you've put a lot of work into the interview process. But like I said, what you can control is how you move on. You can't control the past. You can only control what you're going to do after the rejection. If you enjoyed this content, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next time. Bye.